Listo.
Ya.
Ok, so la B comienza aquí en la puerta y en el fuel tank. Termina atrás del splash part, también conocido como mud flap. So vamos a comenzar aquí con los rearview mirrors. Make sure that my rearview mirrors are properly mounted secure. They're not bent, not cracked, not broken, no missing hardware, well mounted to the door. Make sure the rearview mirror is clean and visible. It's not cracked or broken, clean and visible, and no illegal stickers. Our windshield on the door, make sure it's properly mounted and secure. It's not cracked, it's not broken, clean and visible, no illegal stickers or anything to block our view. Our door, make sure it opens and closes properly. Make sure the door is properly aligned and square. The door hinges, make sure they're properly mounted and secure, not cracked, not broken, no missing hardware, and well greased. Our fuel tank. Make sure that our fuel tank is properly mounted and secure. It's not bent, cracked, or broken, and has no illegal welds, and no fuel leaks or fresh puddles on the ground. The fuel straps, make sure they're properly mounted and secure, not cracked, not broken, no missing hardware, and well mounted to the frame. Our fuel cap. Make sure that our fuel cap is properly mounted and secure. Make sure that it's present, tight, and on the inside we have a rubber seal. Make sure that the rubber seal is properly mounted and secure. It's not cut, torn, or frayed, or ripped. The safety chain, make sure it's properly mounted and secure and it latches properly. My steps. Make sure that the steps are properly mounted and secure. Make sure they're well mounted to the brackets. They have no missing hardware. And make sure they stay clean to prevent a slip and fall. Exhaust stand. Make sure that my exhaust stand is properly mounted and secure. It's not bent, it's not cracked, it's not broken. It has no missing hardware, no loose brackets, and it has no carbon soot leaks. My catwalk. Make sure that my catwalk is properly mounted and secure. Make sure it has no loose or missing hardware. And make sure it remains clean to prevent a slip and fall. My frame and cross members. My frame and cross members, make sure they're properly mounted and secure. They're not bent, cracked, or broken. They have no missing hardware or illegal welds. My drive shaft. Make sure that my drive shaft is properly mounted and secure. It's not bent, cracked, or broken, no illegal welds or missing hardware. Our drive shaft has U-joints. Make sure that the U-joints are properly mounted and secure. They're not bent, cracked, or broken, and they have no missing hardware, and they're well greased. The drive shaft is connected to the differential and transmission. My emergency airlines. Make sure that my emergency airline is properly mounted and secure. It's not cut, torn, or frayed. It's not ripped. It has no abrasions, no air leaks. It's well mounted to the glad hand and coupling. The glad hand and the coupling connection are properly mounted and secure, not cracked, not broken, and has a rubber seal between them. Our electrical line. Make sure that our electrical line is properly mounted and secure. It has no cuts, tears, or frayed. It has no exposed wires. It's well connected to the housing and secure with our pigtail. Our service airline. Make sure their service airline is properly mounted and secure. It's not cut, torn, or frayed. It's not ripped. It has no abrasions and no air leaks. Our service airline is well mounted to the glad hand and coupling. The glad hand and coupling connections are properly mounted and secure. Not cracked, not broken. Has a rubber seal between them and there's no air leaks. All three lines are properly mounted and secure and they're well connected. They're long enough to connect to the trailer, but short enough to have a proper clearance away from the catwalk and frame. On the tractor side, make sure they're all properly mounted and secure also, well mounted and secure, no air leaks or exposed wires. Now my dual tires. We're going to make sure that our dual tires have a tread depth of 232. Make sure that both tires are the same size and that our air pressure is between 100 and 110 depending on the manufacturer. Make sure that between your dual tires there is no debris. And make sure that your butt rims have no gap, no space between them, and they're not bent, cracked, or broken, or illegal welds. Make sure that on the face and sidewall of the tire, there's no nails, there's no screws, there's no cuts, tears, frayed, there's no abrasions or bubbles or air leaks. Make sure that our tire has a proper seal with the bead of the rim, and the rim is not bent, not cracked, not broken, no illegal welds. My lug nuts. My lug nuts are properly mounted secure, not cracked, not broken, have no rust trails or shining threads to indicate loose or missing hardware. Axle seal. Make sure that our axle seal is properly mounted secure. It's not cracked, not broken, it has no missing hardware, and it has no oil leaks. Our valve stem and cap. Make sure that our valve stem and our cap are properly mounted secure. Our air pressure is between 100 and 110, and depending on the manufacturer of your tire also. Ya les damos con la suspensión. Spring mount. Spring mount is properly mounted secure. It's not bent, it's not cracked, it's not broken, no illegal welds, and no missing hardware. Control arm. Make sure that my control arm is properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken, and no illegal welds. U-bolts. Make sure that my U-bolts are properly mounted secure, not cracked, not broken, have no rust trails or shiny threads to indicate loose or missing hardware. My shock. Make sure that my shock is properly mounted secure, it's not bent, cracked, or broken, has no missing hardware, and no oil leaks. My airbag. Make sure that my airbag is properly mounted secure, it has no cuts, tears, or frayed, or abrasions, and there's no air leaks. Ya les vamos con un sistema de frenos. Brake chamber. Make sure that brake chamber is properly mounted secure, it's not bent, cracked, or broken, no missing hardware, and there's no air leaks. My brake chamber has air lines. Make sure that the air lines are both properly mounted secure, they're not cut, torn, or frayed, there's no rips, and there's no air leaks. Our vehicle's ABS equipped, so we have an ABS electrical wire. Make sure that it's properly mounted secure, it's not cut, torn, or frayed, and it has no exposed wires. My push rod and slack adjuster. Make sure that my push rod and slack adjuster are both properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken, well greased, and no more than 1 inch of plate with your brakes released. My brake drum and brake shoes. My brake drum and brake shoes are both properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken. There's no grease or oil leaks. Has minimum 1/4 brake lining material, which is required. The brake drum has no crystallizing or heat traces or heat cracks on it. Now, my fifth one. My apron. Make sure that my apron is properly mounted secure, it's not bent, cracked, or broken, and no illegal welds, and it's well mounted to the trailer. My fifth wheel skid plate. Make sure that it's properly mounted secure, it's not bent, cracked, or broken. Between the apron and the skid plate, make sure there's no gap or space between them and well greased. Pivot pin. Make sure that our pivot pin is properly mounted secure. It's not bent, not cracked, not broken. It's well greased and mounted, and it holds the skid plate in place. Platform. Platform properly mounted secure, not bent, cracked, or broken, no illegal welds. The platform gives us a proper clearance we need so that the skid plate doesn't hit or touch the cross members or the frame. Mounting bolts. Make sure that the mounting bolts are properly mounted secure. They're not cracked, not broken. There's no rust trails or shiny threads to indicate loose or missing hardware. My release arm. Make sure that my release arm is properly mounted secure. Make sure that it remains in the lock position while connected to the trailer. The function it has is to open and close locking jaws. It's not cracked, not broken, and no missing hardware, and well greased. Now let's go towards the back and continue the collision. Yes, sir. Kingpin. Make sure that my kingpin is properly mounted secure. It's not bent, cracked, or broken, no illegal welds, and well greased. The kingpin is well mounted to the apron. The skid plate. Make sure that the apron and the skid plate have no gap, no space between them. Also, the locking jaws, make sure they're properly mounted secure. They're not bent, cracked, or broken. There's no illegal welds, and make sure they remain closed while connected to the trailer at all times. My frame and cross members. Make sure that my frame and my cross members are properly mounted and secure, not bent, cracked, or broken, no illegal welds, and no missing hardware. My tail lights. Make sure that my tail lights are properly mounted and secure. They're not cracked, not broken. Proper colors: white for reverse, red for turning signals, four-way flashers, brake lights, and daytime running lights. Splash guards. Make sure their splash guards are properly mounted and secure. There is no cuts, tears, or fray. There is no missing hardware. Have the proper DOT reflector, and have a proper clearance of 6 to 8 inches from the ground. That concludes our Pretrip inspection letter B.